All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Model Monday Live, where we challenge you to use any 3D CAD system and try to take a 2D drawing and turn it into a 3D model as quickly as possible. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat today. FPV Kev is here. What's up, my friend? Victor K is here. And Satoru Fujinama is here, says woohoo, and hello, and welcome. And Undefined Explode is here, getting my SolidWorks set up. Looking forward to trying to keep up today. Nice. Gianos is here, says hello, Toby. Really love your work, man. Thank you so much. Glad that you are enjoying the channel. PC Arduino is here, says hi, Toby, and all. Hello, my friend, and welcome. And Gray is here. What is up? Hello, everyone. Vicky Chong is here, says hi. Mr. Mesa is here. Mesa Makes. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much, one and all, for being here. We had a great weekend this weekend. We got to go outside. We got to enjoy the beautiful weather. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, wasn't too sunny. Had a great Mother's Day. And overall, just had a good weekend here. Lots of soccer, lots of outdoor time for sure. Did a little bit of spring clean up around the property a little bit. You know, gotta upkeep things as the plants are growing. Look out for the poison ivy out there. Aaron C says hello, my friend. Welcome. I would like to ask if you have any plans for making more advanced modeling content for Onshape. Yeah, so great question there, Giano. So basically what we're doing right now is we're working through all the tutorials for all the different tier levels of the practice models app. So we are going to get into, tier 4, tier 5 level practice models. We also post some stuff over on the Onshape channel. So I just did a tutorial over there on modeling up a connecting rod, doing it as a single part, and then using the split feature in Onshape to split it into multiple parts in the one part studio, and then putting that part studio into an assembly so you can use it in assembly mode. So basically, when it comes to Onshape, we're doing a lot of parts design. I'm hoping to eventually get a little bit deeper into some of that content, but right now I've just got such a backlog of creating, parts in Onshape, creating everything up to like tier 5, tier 6 level parts here on the TooTallToby practice models app. But when it comes to more advanced things like surface modeling or assembly management or revisioning, versions, branching, merging, all that, any of those topics, you're probably better off looking at, starting out by just looking at the Onshape channel itself and searching through some of the content on there. And then you can kind of branch out from there. You can also ask on the Discord. We've got a lot of Onshape wizards in the Discord, or in the Onshape Discord. They've got an amazing Discord as well. So those are probably the resources I would tap into depending what it is you're trying to model up. Rambro's Workshop is here, the world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling, for a few more months, or possibly for another full year if he repeats his championship. Who has access to the video tutorials? Everybody has access to the video tutorials as long as you can get into the challenge. So the video tutorials are in the page. So a question came in here from PC Arduino. He said, who has access to the video tutorial? So let me log out of, hold on a second. Let me log in as a different user here. We'll log in as Jerry. All right, here we go. So you can see here, this is TooTallToby.com/practice, and I'm logged in as Jerry Smith, and it says click here for premium membership. So that means I'm not a premium, I haven't signed up for premium access at this point. So there's still a lot of free challenges that you can see here, and then some of the challenges are locked as premium members only. So if I click into one of these free challenges, let's say I go in here to 240102, and then I look at the list of available tutorials. So we've got the new community tutorial section is now available. We're going to talk about that today a little bit. And then we can see here more community content. We've got all of the community tutorials that we were able to scrub from the YouTube API. So we've got a lot of tutorials here that are available for anybody. Anybody with a free account can get in and can look at those tutorials, but they are in the page of the challenge. So that means that if you're not signed up for premium access, you click on this one here, 240103, then you're not going to be able to see the tutorials on that one until you get access to the actual challenge. So yeah, great question. I asked because the community has some really nice tutorials and some of the more complex models. Yeah, exactly. So we could maybe go up here to show filters, and then we could try to filter for, tier level 5, and then we could get in and see if there's any, maybe filter by free as well. So we could look at the free models that are on tier level 5, and then we would be able to go through and, actually we should change this to and 05 and free. So for the 05 challenges, though, if you were when you're logged in, you're going to be able to see which ones are free, and then you'll be able to get in there and look at the tutorial videos there. Yep. Great question. Great point as well. All right, everybody. Well, welcome. I see Lars Nielsen is here. Says, hello, new guy in the neighborhood. Good evening from Lollyden in Denmark. Yo, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Great to see you in here. Let us know what CAD system you're using. All right, and Atse is here as well. Amazing matchup this weekend in the tournament. Atse, it was a lot of fun watching you, and great job. Great job. All right, let's get going here on today's... Let me just check one thing here. Okay, cool. Cool, let's get going here on today's episode of Model Monday Live. Welcome, welcome, one and all. If you missed the tournament on Friday, the tournament matchups were absolutely awesome. We got to see Ricardo Salado, Ricardo Jean going up against Abdullah, and we got to see Scott Makes a Thing going up against Atse. It was Ricardo and Atse who won their matches, so they are going to move on to the semifinals. So this Friday, May 16th, we're going to see the semifinal matches take place at 1 p.m. East Coast. So be sure to join us, and... Welcome, welcome, one and all. I see Idris is here, says new to 3D printing and 3D modeling. Want to learn CAD, but I'm not educated. That's all right. You are in the right place, my friend. We're going to show you exactly how to get up and running on that journey. So welcome, welcome. Now it's the Fantastic Four. Yeah, exactly. We got Metab going up against Ricardo. We got Dom going up against Atse. It's going to be epic. I cannot wait to see these matches. Victor K says, I'm rooting for the Onshape user. Nice. I like it. All right, guys. Today we're going to do 2 CAD speed modeling challenges for you, the chat. And we're going to have some updates from the world of TooTallToby. We're going to do a live solve using Onshape. And, of course, we're going to hang out with the best chat ever. John is here in the chat, says, just found your tutorial at the weekend. Thanks. Nice, 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 nice. And ZNOVOTZ76 is here. Z76, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Lars says not Onshape yet. Yeah, we'll make a believer out of you. Don't worry. Guys, I want to say, of course, thank you so much to all the subscribers, anybody who's done super thanks, anybody who's joined the YouTube channel, everybody who hits that like button, all the people who make these amazing tutorials, the super chatters, anybody who's participated in Value for Value, everybody who's signed up for Practice Models Premium, all the students, all the sharers, all the commentators, and, of course, the Discord crew. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all helping one another out as we are running into various challenges on Discord, or even just have questions about the world of 3D CAD. It's a great place to get a great resource. And of course, I want to give a huge shout out to all the instructors out there, including Mrs. Greikar and her awesome students at Career Tech, Franklin County Career and Technology Center. Got a very nice note from it's either Miss or Ms. or Mrs. Greikar, about her students and how they're really enjoying these episodes of Model Monday Live. So shout out to the Franklin County Career and Technology Center, specifically grades 10 through 12. And welcome back to another episode of Model Monday Live. Guys, today we're going to do an Onshape live solve. Here's a little preview of what that model is going to look like. I don't want to preview it too long. Don't forget, before we get started, to hit the like button, to share and reshare this channel. If you like what we're doing, make sure that you share and reshare and get the word out. Yeah, Mr. Mesa in the chat saying, Idris, I teach high school students Onshape. Check out Mesa Makes' YouTube channel. He's posting fantastic content to help people get up and running in the world of 3D CAD. Lots of good stuff in there as well. Great to see Corey here in the chat. Mr. Mesa Makes. And of course, guys, if you're interested in learning SolidWorks, check out the TooTallToby.com/training website. We've got our Zero to Hero program to help you go from knowing nothing about SolidWorks all the way through to getting your certified SolidWorks professional certification. We got 33 people watching. Let's make sure we all hit the like button, and let's get into this first challenge. I'm going to show you a 2D print and challenge you to turn it into a 3D model using any 3D CAD system you want. You're going to try to calculate the mass based on the materials, and you're going to enter that mass directly in the YouTube chat on the first challenge. And then on the second challenge, you're going to enter that answer in directly on the TooTallToby website. So make sure you sign up for a free account at TooTallToby.com if you want to participate in the second half of the show today. And the basic rules are that you can use any 3D CAD package. Make sure you use the specified precision, and the first correct answer in the chat will be declared the winner. We'll get a point, and we'll end up on the Model Monday Live leaderboard. Now, these are the materials that we use for all of those of you who are here who are new. Be sure to hit the print screen button on your computer, take a screen capture, use Windows snipping tool, but grab a screen capture of these materials. You're going to want to create a custom materials library so that you can utilize these materials over and over and over again. We do have resources to help you learn how to do that on the TooTallToby YouTube channel and also in the Discord. But for today's episode, maybe you just need to manually input the density, and here are the densities you can expect to see today. Probably at least one of these, possibly more than one. Jim Yu is in the chat. What's up, my man? Thanks for joining us here today. Great to see you. Guys, the advanced rules are this is meant to be fun and good-spirited. Occasionally, I will make mistakes, and during Model Monday Live, the Ivan exploit is permitted. So on that note, let's get into our first challenge here. I'm going to show you a 2D print. You're going to take a screen capture of this 2D print, and you're going to use your CAD system to try to turn this into a 3D model and calculate the mass. Here we go. This first CAD vs. CAD challenge, 3D CAD speed modeling challenge, begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? The tolerance is plus or minus 2 grams. We're calling this thing the tri-mount nozzle. You've probably seen versions of this model before. I've seen the same model on many different CAD forums, many different practice exercises. I gave it my own spin, if you will, a little hint there on how to model this. Gave it my own spin. But this is the tri-mount nozzle. Couple of things to note in this drawing. You'll notice that the spacing of the upper rounded sections, there's 4 of them up top there, the 4 holes and the 4 upper rounded sections are on a 76 millimeter square. So definitely something to note there. They are on a 76 millimeter square. And the other thing to note, I circled these in purple. We got a new type of Toby note here for Rich Penn. I circled these in purple. You'll see that the radius is not the same. The radius is 8 on the tri-mount tabs that are sticking out, and the radius is 10 on the 4 little rounded sections that are sticking out at the top. So just be aware of that as you guys are going through this model. It will definitely make a difference in your answer and will knock you out of spec, knock you out of tolerance. Tolerance is plus or minus 2 grams. Whoever can calculate the mass of this model, plain carbon steel, 7,800 kilograms per cubic meter. Whoever can calculate this mass first is going to be declared the winner and is going to earn a point on our Model Monday Live leaderboard. Grab a screen capture. Metab, our speed demon, is answering 123 grams. It's a good guess. It's not in XXXX grams, though. Maybe you got to just add another number on the end there. I like how he's just looking at the drawing and trying to come up with the mass. He's not even modeling it. All right, grab a screen capture of this 2D print because we are going to continue on with today's presentation. This is a good song. Good modeling song here for everybody. Let's go, let's go. There we go, Metab. Well done, my friend. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like it. All right. Let's continue on with today's fantastic episode of Model Monday Live. So glad to see some new names in the chat. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Matab definitely answered first, but being first is not always what's important, especially in engineering. You don't want to be first if you're getting parts cut that are going to end up in the scrap bin. Nobody likes that. Shift supervisors do not like that. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're watching, if you're enjoying, if you like this kind of format, hit the like button. And of course, let your coworkers know about it. You know, your goal this week is to tell one coworker about the channel. Walk up to one coworker, whisper in their ear, say, hey, did you hear about Model Monday Live? It's this really cool live stream where you get to model parts against other people from around the world using any 3D CAD system. Jern is in the chat. What's up, my man? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Great to see you. Jern is our resident Build 123D expert. Always shares his work in the Discord, shows us what those models look like at the end. Jern, it's a good model today. I'll roll back to it real quick for you, in case you didn't get a chance. This is a good model. The Tri-Mount nozzle. A fun one. Fun one to try to break down, try to figure out the best way to build it, and then do it. Figure it out and then do it. All right. And guys, don't forget to join the party. Okay, you want to support the channel, keep this train rolling. Practice Models Premium is a great way to support the channel. We have several options for how to purchase that Practice Models Premium. You can use the Super Chat and the Super Thanks. And of course, you can take training with Toby. These are all excellent ways to get involved in the world of TooTallToby and to keep the doors open, as we say. Keep this train rolling. Now, what else are we doing at TooTallToby besides CAD vs. CAD speed modeling here on Model Monday Live? Well, we are hosting a tournament currently, and we're getting ready to host another one. We're going to go back-to-back on these tournaments and possibly back-to-back-to-back rolling into the World Championship. But currently, we are hosting what's called the Spring Open 2025, and this tournament is live. The semifinals are this Friday, May 16th, and then the finals are going to be next Friday, May 23rd. Both of those taking place at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. And we see some answers coming in here. Multiple answers, multiple results. This is what we like to see from Model Monday Live. Lots of answers coming in here, but who knows which one is correct? We won't find out until the end. So our tournament started out with Matab versus Mr. Alex, and Matab was able to move through. We saw Gray, who's in the chat, going up against Dom, who's a fabrication wizard, and Dom was able to move through that first round, that first battle. We saw Ricardo Jean going up against Abdullah, and it was Ricardo Jean who moved on from Italy. And we saw Ase from Macedonia going up against Scott Makes a Thing using Rhino. And we got to see a very close match between Rhino and SolidWorks in the first match. And then the second match was a sheet metal part. And Ase really took control in that second match, earned that second battle, earned that second point, and then moved on in the tournament to the semifinals. So very nicely done to Matab, to Ricardo, to Dom, and to Ase. This is going to be an exciting semifinals that we're going to get to watch this Friday. We're also going to have some more details about the next tournament this Friday, so we will definitely open it up and share those tournaments with all of you. Share those details about that tournament with all of you. And guys, don't forget, if you want to take some training with Toby, we offer training, a lot of different training classes that I've already written. We also offer custom training if you're ever looking for custom training, or even if you're just like an inventor and you want to come up with a new invention. You guys have seen me over the past couple of weeks talking about this little guitar pick holder that I made. So it's a 3D printed part. It slips open. It kind of snaps shut. There's a little ramp here. Whoops. There's a little ramp here in the guitar pick holder, so I can just slide the picks out with one hand. Because a lot of times you're holding the neck of the guitar with your other hand. So being able to just pull a pick out there with one hand, very helpful without having to flip the whole case. So we modeled there's a little ramp there. Modeled a little ramp right into that guitar pick holder. So, guys, if you're ever in a situation where you're trying to come up with a new 3D printed invention, or you just want to, you've got an idea, you want to turn it into a 3D printed design or a fully defined CAD design so it can get machined. I love that kind of work, and you can definitely hire me. We can work together, and we can take your napkin sketch, your idea, and turn it into a full 3D printable or manufacturable model. And I love doing that kind of stuff. So reach out, Vicky at TooTallToby.com. It's truly neck and neck. Yeah. I got to take a look at the leaderboard again and see exactly where we are. So guys, in the world of TooTallToby, the other big news that we've seen over the past couple of months is that we've got a new partnership, TooTallToby's Practice Models and Model Monday Live working together, and we are now doing our second half of the show using the Practice Models app. So head over to TooTallToby.com, sign up for a free account. When you sign up for a free account, you're going to be able to access these featured models that are up here at the top. We saw this featured model get posted last week, and we saw people getting in there and actually creating speed runs of themselves completing this model. So we see we've got a speed run video here from an Onshape user, speed run video here from a free CAD user, and a speed run video here from our CATIA user who's been absolutely crushing the leaderboards here. Make CATIA great again. I love this. I love this user. I love their sense of humor, and I love the fact that they just keep coming in and modeling up things and posting these speed runs here using CATIA. So really, really interesting to see what's going on with CATIA, what's going on with these leaderboards. And in the second half of the show, we are going to use the Practice Models app here at TooTallToby.com. So make sure that you sign up for a free account at TooTallToby.com, and then we are going to post the challenge for all of you right up here in the top, right up in the featured challenge. The cool thing about the featured challenge practice model up here at the top is it's a great way for people to try out the premium offering, even if you just have a free account. So even with a free account here, you can get in, you can use all the functionality of premium when you're here in this practice model. That's going to be things like the ability to do try again when you do this practice model. So if you model it up, the first time I did it, it took me 19 minutes. Well, maybe I want to do try again, and that way I can model it faster and faster. Or maybe I want to model it with a different CAD system. That's another place where try again could be really useful. So the premium functionality is available there for all of our free users. Sign up for a free account, and that way you can join us in the second half of the show today. I see Jordy coming in with an answer. Yo, nice job. Great seeing you in here. Aaron C says, I know somebody who's, I've got a summer intern now. Do you know any good YouTube channels he could watch to sharpen his CAD skills? Scratching my head to think of any. Yeah. I think I might know one. You could send him over to youtube.com/TooTallToby. I heard that channel's got some good playlists. Jordy coming in with a correction. You guys can change your answer as much as you want. Here on Model Monday Live, we only accept the final answer, the last answer you submitted. So even if you submitted one that was correct and then changed it to an incorrect, you know, that's whatever your final answer is, that's what we accept. So you can correct and correct and correct as much as you need. Yeah, the R6. Yep. I knew that was going to get some people. Aaron C says, I haven't heard of that, but I'll check it out. Thanks. Yeah. My pleasure. Guys, if you're not familiar with the Practice Models app, what it is it's a collection of these 2D to 3D challenges that you can do. So very similar to what we're doing here on the YouTube channel on this Model Monday Live. We've kind of taken the same spirit and put it into a self-service app where you can go through and you can model up these challenges and try to see how quickly you can turn a 2D drawing into a 3D model. You can capture your history. You can see if you're getting better over time. Look at your analytics. Compete against other members of the community. That is what we do here with the Practice Models app. And you can see these were all the challenges we released in February. These were all the challenges we released in March. And these are all the challenges we released in April. And now we are here in May. And I think we're already on challenge number 5 or 6 here in May. So we release basically about 10 challenges per month for our users. Some of them are free. Some of them are exclusive for our Practice Models Premium subscribers. And it's a great way for you to support the channel and to continue to get in your CAD practice. All right. So that is some news. Now, speaking of the Practice Models app, guys, we got a new feature, a brand new feature. We talked about the featured challenge. Great seeing MCGA in here getting the fastest speed modeling time in the video. But now we are introducing the first 42. So the first 42 is a little bit different from the top 100. The top 100 shows us the fastest times that have come in for a certain model. So let's say, for example, we look at this model here, this tier 4 machined part we've got 1,117 people who have completed this model. So here in the top 100, we can see that the fastest time for completing this model was 1 minute and 31 seconds. Very fast, even faster than Matab here. Wow. So Matab, 1 minute 47 seconds, and this guy, Lelad 5, 1 minute 31 seconds. Rambro's Workshop, 1 minute 50 seconds. So very fast here. Look at this key creator. Let's go. I like seeing this key creator here. That's the new build of CAD key. 2 minutes 20 seconds. Very nice. Like these guys were within 0.04-ish seconds of each other. That's incredible. Very, very fast there, even though they did it at 2 totally different times. But that's not the same as the first 42. What the first 42 is it's the first 42 people who completed this model. So you see here, Dom, Rich Pen, Smooth Slug. You see Will is here, Will from Brazil. These are the first 42 people who completed this model. So the first 42 is a little bit different from our top 100, and the top 100 is the fastest people, but the first 42 is since the challenge was first released, the first 42 people who finished it. Rambro's Workshop in the chat says, I know that feature. Why is the number 42, says Atse. 42 is actually not the question, but it is the answer. That would probably be my answer to that question. 42 is the answer to everything. Exactly. Aaron C knows. It's the answer to everything. So we've got a brand new feature here for everyone. Check it out. First 42. And there's lots of other cool stuff in practice models, 170 models, faster scoreboards, more filters, trend lines and analytics, community tutorials, fastest times table. We got cheaper prices now. We've got a lot of good stuff there in the practice models app. Check it out. We've got Rich Penn. Shout out to Rich Penn. If you were ever curious about the distribution of models, we've got a real overload here on tier 4 challenges. We got to kind of balance this out a little bit, I think. But if you're ever curious about the model count by tier level, shout out to Rich. Actually, this bar graph looks a lot like that bar graph from the Tell Your Coworkers slide, right? This bar graph here. This is like the number of challenges at the different levels here. So shout out to Rich Penn, giving us the analytics that we need. He posted that in Discord. And of course, huge shout out to our resident web developers, Bodie McBoatpants, making all of the practice models functionality come to life, and Hubi 3D FX, making all of the great functionality of the practice models app come to life, including the first 42. Huge shout out to Hubi 3D FX. He travels all around the world. He was in a country over this weekend that did not allow Discord. So got some weird behavior from Discord. So if you are ever traveling and all of a sudden you can't access your favorite Discord servers, it could be the country that you're in that is affecting that. Good to know that. You Americans are movie junkies. Never heard of the movie. Bro, come on. Hitchhiker's Guide. Yeah, and I like how Aaron C says it's a movie reference. Like he's only seen the movie. He didn't grow up with the books. He just saw the movie later. That's cool too. It's books, guys. They're called books. Okay, you read them. They let you imagine what the character. In fact, I think I have Hitchhiker's Guide here in the background. Yeah, it's right back there. Look, books. That's not a DVD box set. That's books. There you go. All right, guys. I'm glad that we got that sorted out, whether or not it was a movie or a book. Mobile friendly? Yes. It's the best book. Well known in Sweden, too. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's an English, but like a British, origin, British author. So. All right, here we go. Hope that was enough time for everybody to get signed up for a free account at TooTallToby.com. That's it for now. We are going to go into the answer to this first challenge, and then we're going to jump right into the second challenge here. So in this first challenge, and don't forget to hit the like button. In this first challenge, our answer is, let's take a look here. What did you guys come up with as far as... What do we come up with here? Who was the first one? Matab, 1234. Very nice. Aaron C, 2648. Rambros Workshop, 2603. Victor K, 2648. Otse, 2644. Rambros Workshop Revising, 2648. Otse, 2648. I like seeing this convergence here. Gray, 2648. Very nice. Jordy, 2646.4. Very nice. Jordy Revising, 2648. Got caught up with those radii. And PC Arduino 2648, very nice, very nice. And Undefined Explode 2718, I like it, I like it. And Jern 2645. Guys, the correct answer is 2648 grams. So that is going to be a GG to none other than Aaron C, who continues his reign, continues his dominance of the Model Monday Live leaderboards. Very nice, very nice. Well done, my friend. Aaron C asking for some behind-the-scenes secrets. I can't answer that publicly, Aaron. I'll just let you use your imagination. GG to Aaron C. I think I spelled your name wrong, too. Sorry, Aaron. All right, guys, here we go. For our next challenge, we're going to have to head over to the TooTallToby website. So get over there, get signed up for your free account. And let's make sure that we are ready to go over on the TooTallToby website, because this next challenge is going to be found. I want to once again, before this challenge gets started, I want to once again say thank you so much to Mrs. Grykar and the awesome students at Franklin County Career and Technology Center in 10th through 12th grade. Great to see all of you in here in the live streams doing the challenges. And we've got another challenge for you right now. If you head over to TooTallToby.com and you check out the main page and refresh, this challenge begins now. 250506. Who is going to get this challenge and solve it and land in the first 42? The challenge is live. Start the F5 parade. You got to hit F5 to refresh your screen. And 2505-06 is now available up here in the featured challenge practice models. You got to be logged in. I'm logged in here as Nikola Tesla. And we are going to begin this challenge in just a moment. Good luck to everybody. Sign up for a free account over at TooTallToby.com, and you too can participate in this challenge. So here we go. Let's take a look at this challenge. I'm going to do a live solve for everybody. I'm going to solve this thing. You guys are solving it using your CAD system. I'm going to solve it using my CAD system, which is going to be Onshape. So let's get into it here. We're going to go over to TooTallToby.com. We're going to sign in for a free account here. Aaron C saying, Toby, I request a feature request. When you zoom in on the web page, all the UI elements get bigger, but the drawing stays the same size. Aaron C, I think we might have a solution for you right now. He asks for an enhancement, and we're going to see if we can deliver it right now. We're going to find out in just a second. So here we go. We're at TooTallToby.com. We have a free account. We're up here at the top of the page. And like I said, you guys are solving this challenge right now here on the live stream on Model Monday Live. We're going to see who can solve it first. While you are solving it, I'm going to try to solve it here. You're solving it using whatever CAD system you want. I'm going to solve this thing using Onshape. So we're going to start out by going over here to TooTallToby.com. We're going to sign up for a free account, and then we're going to click here to get started with practice models. And up here at the very top of the page, we've got some challenges that are available for all of our users, whether you've got a free account or whether you've signed up for Practice Models Premium. I'm going to click here to practice. Remember, if you sign up for Practice Models Premium, you'll get access to this entire library. Lots of different challenges. You can filter by challenge level. You can search by skills tested, skills challenged. But we're going to go in here to this one, 250506, and we are going to do a live solve using Onshape. So here we can see that we're going to click here to begin. And once we click here to begin, I'm going to say reveal drawing and go. The clock has begun. And so to begin this drawing, to look at this drawing here, even though the clock is running, what I like to do is I like to challenge myself to kind of come up with a game plan. Now, Aaron C., you'll notice that there's a new button here that says open in new window. So if you click on that button, open in new window, you'll see that the drawing now is kind of like modular. modal, I think they call that. So you can now move the drawing around and it stays the correct size. And even if you were to zoom in and out on the page, like if you wanted to make a speed run where the clock is a lot smaller and you're going to record yourself doing a speed run, that drawing in the extra window stays the same size. Whoops, I'm shaking this thing and it's ending up minimizing everything else. So that's a pretty cool new feature there in the app. Shout out to Hubi FX3D who helped bring that feature to reality. Very much appreciate that, Hubi. So here we go, guys. Even though this is a speed modeling challenge, even though the clock is running, I'm still just going to take a minute or two here and kind of come up with a game plan for this challenge to begin with. Now, what makes this particular model, and by the way, what is this model? Of course, this model is a 3D printable. It's for when you're drilling a hole in the wall so that you can catch all the dust. So if you're drilling a hole in drywall, you know, if you have like a shop vac, you can just suck up the dust with the shop vac. But if you don't, this is kind of a nice thing you could throw in your toolkit. Now, full disclosure, there is some stuff about this that I think I would probably change if I did this again. You know, these are all over the place on 3D printed websites. I just kind of looked at one and then from the picture kind of made my own using some best judgment. But there are a couple of things I would probably change, and I'll share those things with you at the end here. But the thing that's probably the most tricky about this model is the use of this call out here. This the thing that's most tricky about this model here is probably the use of this call out here, this radius 15 to normal places, sorry, 2 places normal to this view. And so what that means is that if we're looking at this thing dead on, this radius here is a true radius of 15. However, you can also see that that radius of 15 is being called out normal to this view here, which is at our 45 degrees. So we got our 45 degrees here, and then we've got this radius here. And that's where you definitely need to do a little bit of planning. So there's part of me that thinks that the best way to start this model might be to just create this shape here, this kind of flat back shape here. And then once I create that shape, add in those fillets in that first sketch. So add in those 15 millimeter fillets, and then come in with a secondary shape to create this kind of like bucket here on the front that's going to catch all the dust. And then extrude that out to these sidewalls. And then finally, as a third feature, perform a cut extrude where I cut extrude this region away. And I think that's probably a pretty good way of starting this model. That's going to leave you with that 15 millimeter radius here on the corner. Now, there certainly are other ways to do it, but I think this is going to be the trickiest part about this model. It's really going to be a model where the order in which you create your features is going to affect you. You know, you're going to have that rounded corner there, and then you're going to need to extrude this bucket so that the bucket comes right out, you know, right out to that corner. Extrude that bucket so it comes right out to that corner. So how do you accomplish that? Well, one way you could do it would be just to extrude it so that it's flush and then cut off that corner at the end. You know, the other way you could do it would be to maybe model this view here, 3 millimeters wide, come over, come down here, put your little radius on the bottom, and then a flat section, you know, and then you come up here and then extrude that out to your depth of 85. And then once you have that shape extruded out to 85, then you could go in and you could lop off this corner with a cut extrude. You know, that would work as well. But this is definitely going to be one of those models where the order of operations is going to determine whether or not you get it correct. You can see here, looking down from the top, you know, this is not a radius. This is like an ellipse if we're looking down on it from the top. It's like an ellipse there because it's a radius that's leaning in at 45 degrees. And here you see where that 45 degrees is. So we kind of covered the basic game plan that we always try to cover. We ask ourselves, you know, where should the origin be on this model? I think that for me, the origin, I'm just going to put the origin down here, right at the bottom of the model, right down here. You know, it's at the center that we've got center line symmetry. So I'm just going to drop in the origin right down there. And then our next question is, what's our first sketch going to look like? Well, I think what I'm going to do is my first sketch is going to look like this. It's going to be this rectangular shape on the front plane, and I'm going to fill it off these corners. Fill it off those corners, and then I'm going to extrude that out to that depth of 3 millimeters. Then my secondary feature is going to be a sketch here on the right plane, this 45 degree with this fillet at the bottom, and I'm going to create that as my secondary sketch and extrude it over. And then my third feature, or my third sketch, is going to be removing this little corner area here, for that radius 15. I think after that, the rest of the model is going to pretty much come together. That's really the more tricky part about this. Although I will say one other thing that could be a little bit tricky is the shell. And this kind of comes down to knowing your CAD system. I know for sure that the way that SolidWorks works and the way that Onshape works is if you shell a model that has a large, almost planar face, like this face here is 3 millimeters, this kind of back plate is 3 millimeters. If I shell this model and then I choose to remove this face here, the shell will work. The shell won't give me a problem. If I say make that shell a wall thickness of 3, it kind of like ignores this back plate here, and I'll show you a demonstration of that in Onshape here. But again, knowing your CAD system, doing a lot of practice, that's really gonna pay off when you're trying to take an idea, a napkin sketch, a photograph, and you're trying to turn that into a 3D model. And that's what we're doing here. You know, we're looking around at different 3D printed websites. We're saying, hey, that's a pretty cool idea. You know, I don't want to download the model and like totally rip the person off who originally designed it, or maybe that's not an option. You know, maybe you're looking at a photograph of something, but there's not an option to download the model. I want to figure out how to make that model myself. So being able just to look at a photograph and then kind of like reverse engineer from a photograph, it's a really valuable skill that you'll use, you know, not only when you're trying to do 3D printing, but when you're trying to do any kind of a design. There's probably another design out there already that's pretty close to what you want. And so if you can use that and then make your own version, you know, this is not the exact same version as what's available online. This is like my own little spin to it. And so it's really valuable to be able to hone that skill, and you're going to use that all throughout your engineering career. So let's get into it now. I know we spent about 6 minutes there kind of preparing for this challenge, planning out for this challenge, but let's get into it now in Onshape. Now, the nice thing is that, you know, like I said earlier, shout out to Hubi3DFX, we've got this ability to have this window over here on our second screen. So I'm just going to jump over here to my Onshape setup, and I'm going to choose to create this model here in Onshape. And just so that everybody can see what I'm doing, I am going to bring up my keyboard cam, and that way you can all see any of the keyboard shortcuts that I use as I do this step-by-step Onshape live solve. So let's get into it here. We're going to say create document. I am going to create this in the public space. So 25-05-06 space drill dust collector. And then I'm going to say create public document. So if you're ever in Onshape, if you're ever in a free account of Onshape, or if you're in a paid account of Onshape, you can search the public space for this string, and then you'll be able to find my model and actually download and print the STL, or you'd be able to, or 3MF, you'd be able to look through my history tree, look through the feature tree. So you get to, you know, utilize this model directly from the Onshape public space. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just go up here to my hamburger menu, go to workspace units, and just confirm that I'm working in millimeters, this menu up here. Make sure that I'm working in millimeters, make sure that I'm working in grams, which I am. That's my default here in Onshape. Now I'm going to go front plane, S key, begin a sketch, N key to get normal to, S key. I'm going to jump into the rectangle command, and then I'm going to single click down here, move my mouse, single click again, let go of my mouse, and I'm going to use auto dimensions, 85, enter, 105, enter. And then once I've got that geometry in place, I'm going to go here to this lower line here. So I get out of the rectangle command, pick that lower line, pick this point here, and then it's going to be Shift M, which is the shortcut to add the midpoint relationship. Now I'm ready to jump into the fillet command, and I'm going to click this corner, and then I'm going to press Enter, and then I'm going to type in the radius for that corner, 5 millimeters, and Enter. And then I'm going to do one more fillet. So a lot of times I'll hit escape, and then I'll do the fillet again just to make sure that I'm in a new fillet command. And then I'll pick this corner and this corner, and then I press Enter. Then I'm already on the 10 key there. So then I'm just going to type in 15, Enter, and there we go. There's those radii down in that lower section of the model. Now I can press the S key, and I can jump into the extrude command and tab, 3, Enter, Enter. So I really try to leverage the tab navigation when I'm working in Onshape. I think it really helps you to navigate through the software. And then just kind of learning what the expected workflow is of the fillet command in sketch mode, another way that you can really save a lot of time. So now I'll go to the right plane, S key, begin a sketch, N key to get normal to, S key to begin a line, and I'll create a line here that starts up top, kind of moves over, moves down at a sharp angle, single click, move away from that endpoint, not clicking anything, just moving away from that endpoint, coming back to that endpoint, and then coming across here with a tangent arc, and that radius is going to be 15, Enter. And then a final line here. I can just connect to this point here, hit escape, click on that line, press V for vertical, click on this point, and I can press I for coincident. I can S key dimension and create a dimension here from the top plane to the shelf. And that dimension is 35, 35. And then an angle here from this line to this line, an angle there of 45. And once I've got that geometry in place, this thing should be fully constrained. I'm going to hit escape here and try to figure out why it's not fully constrained. So it looks like maybe the issue here has to do with this end point. Yep, that's what it is. So you notice here that, or not the end point, but the center point of that arc. Really what I want is I want this arc here to become tangent to this lower edge down here. So I could pick that arc, pick that edge, and I could press T. Or the other way that we could accomplish this is if I press the space bar to kind of clear all my selections, I could click this point and click this line here, and then I could press I and make those two coincident as well. So either way, it's going to be tangent because this is 90 degrees between the two. So I could make it tangent to this edge here, or I could make it coincident to that point on the sketch or that line on the sketch. Either way, that gives me a nice black sketch. That's a nice fully defined sketch, which we want our sketches to be fully defined every time. So now that we've got that fully defined sketch in place there, let's do an extrusion. So S key extrude, and I'm going to go up to entity or up to face. So I'll go up to face here, and then I'm going to go up to face in direction 2 as well. So go up to face. And that way, if the width of the plate changes, I'll be confident that this extrusion will change right along with it. So up to face, and we'll hit the green check mark, and there we go. Now we've got that geometry in place. Now, one of my favorite things about Onshape is that I don't have to begin a new sketch here and then do a convert entities and then do a convert entities here. So I'm going to hit the space bar, clear my selections. So you notice here I pick this face, one thing is selected. I pick this face, now two things are selected. I don't have to hold control or anything. Onshape uses what's called persistent selection. So now that I pick those two faces, now I can choose the extrude command. And once I choose the extrude command here, I can say that I want that to extrude using remove and through all. So Onshape just sees that there's a region there that I picked and then lets me use that region to do my extrusion. And I really like that. That saves me a lot of time in Onshape. So I'll hit the green check mark there, and there we go. We lopped off those corners, and now looking at this thing from the front, we've got that 15 millimeter radius there looking at it from the front. And so that also sets us up to create that other radius coming down here along this edge. So if I go here to the fillet command, the fillet feature command, and I say I want that to be a radius of 15, I can pick on this edge here. I can pick on this edge over here. And we see that that wraps that fillet down and around that corner. And then if I compare that to the 2D drawing, you know, just kind of looking at the information that's been given to us here on the 2D drawing, it looks like we're pretty much matching up there. Now, you're not always going to have a 2D drawing where the tangent edges are shown, but in this case we do. And so we can leverage that resource. You know, maybe if you're working from a print where you don't have the original digital copy, this might actually be a resource that you could look at. So now we're ready to apply our shell to this model. So we've got that thing filleted in those different directions. Now we're ready to apply that shell to that model. So we're going to go here to shell, and then we're going to say we want to shell that at 3 millimeters, and we want to remove this face here. So this is going to be our face to remove. We see that Onshape shows us a preview. What Onshape is going to try to do is it's going to try to take the rest of the faces of the model and apply a 3 millimeter wall thickness to the rest of the faces of the model. So for this face here, that works out perfect, but it also works out well for this face here where we've got this kind of planar backdrop. It's going to, you know, it's already 3 millimeters. So it's not going to add or remove any geometry. And so when we're done, we're going to see here that this entire back wall now is all coplanar. And that's exactly what we wanted from this thing. So knowing how the shell command works can really help you there. Otherwise, you know, if your CAD system doesn't support that, you might have to perform a split where you split that back wall off. So you do a split here where you split the bucket away from that back wall, and then you could perform your shell. So that might look a little something like this. You don't have to do this in Onshape, but in another CAD system, you might have to do something like create a new plane here. So I could take the front plane, and then I could create a new plane parallel to the front plane. And I could say I want that to be parallel at a point. So parallel to the front plane right here at this point. So now I've got a new plane there on that front surface. And then what I could do is I could do a split command, split, and I could say I want to split this part here using this plane. And I'm going to say keep both sides. So you'll see that now down here in my parts list, I've got two separate parts. So I've got this part here, I can hide it, and then I've got this part here. And now for this part here, what I could do is a shell command, 3 millimeters, and I could say I want to remove this face and this face, and we hit the green check mark. So there you go. Now we shelled out just that one region, and now we could show that originally split off part again, and then we could take those two parts and do what's called a Boolean to combine them together. So we could do a Boolean here, and then we could take this part and combine them together into one single part. Now, like I said a moment ago, in Onshape, in this scenario, you don't have to do that. But what if it was a scenario where the back plate, instead of being 3 millimeters, maybe the back plate is 5 millimeters? You know, now you're going to have more of a challenge on your hands because you're going to try and do a shell, and you're going to end up with like a little pocket here where it tries to shell out this, you know, these faces as well. And that's certainly not what you want. So that's a scenario where knowing how to use the split command, knowing how to use planes and do a split command and then do a Boolean could be really helpful. A little bit off topic, you know, but sometimes I can't help myself showing some bonus functionality. All right, so now we're going to continue on here. Now we've gotten through what I consider to be kind of the harder part of this design. I think the easier part of this design is going to be this upper section. So I'll pick this face here, begin a sketch, orient my view, S key, circle, single click, move my mouse, single click again. That's going to have a diameter of 15 millimeters through. That point and the origin are going to be vertical to one another. So I'll pick those two and press V, and then I'll go into my dimension command, and from the top plane up to this point, you notice I dimension from the plane, not from the model. Just kind of a nice thing that you can do there to help make sure your models don't blow up later on if you change something. So dimension from the plane, it's never going to change, and then that's going to be at 65. And then here, what I would probably do is I would probably just extrude that as a cut rather than including the slots as part of that. I'd probably just extrude that as a cut and then rename it to something like 15 millimeter through hole, or really this would be called like through hole for drill bit. It's better to name it based on the function than the size, because then if the size changes later, you don't have to worry about going back in the tree and renaming it in the tree. Shout out to John G. He says, I really appreciate the bonus functionality. Thank you, John G. I appreciate you as well. So now I'm going to go S key, begin a sketch, N key, get normal to, and I'm going to create a sketch here of 2 circles. Concentric to this one. This circle is going to be 23 millimeters, and this circle is going to be 48 millimeters. 48 millimeters. And then I'll pick on that first one, Q, pick on that second one, pick on that second one, Q. Remember, in Onshape, the space bar is kind of like escape. So if you pick too many things, just hit the space bar. A lot of times I just drop my thumb on it. My thumb is right there over the space bar anyway. So just hit the space bar. It's kind of like escape. And so now I can begin a line command. This is going to be horizontal to the origin here. Start here at this circle, come over to this circle like so. And then I can begin another line command here. So vertical to the origin, start here at this circle, move up to this circle. And then I can begin another line command over here. Horizontal to this point, start here at this circle, move over to this circle. And look at that, all 3 of those lines are black, which means they are fully constrained. And now I can pick these 1, 2, 3 lines, and then I can go out here to this flyout and choose slot, and I can double click here on the slot diameter and make that 6, and that gets all 3 of those slots all at once. Whoops, sorry, 3, double click 3, not 6. All 3 of those slots all at once. So very cool that we're able to get in there and make that slot and get it to the correct size for all 3 all at the same time. Now we can S key extrude, and this is once again going to be a remove, and we're going to say this is going to be through all. Now here in the tree, we can Shift N for rename, and we can rename that to slot holes or slot 3 slots or something like that. And we can hide this plane. We don't need that one anymore. And then finally, final feature here, pick this face, begin a sketch, N key, get normal to, S key, begin a line. You know, a lot of times we talk about using layout geometry and putting all of our geometry in one sketch. And certainly that's an option, but this is an option as well. You know, you can see here that we can just create this geometry one feature at a time, you know, and sometimes that helps to kind of keep your tree organized. So we'll take this point here and this arc, and that's going to be Shift O. Shift O is the shortcut for concentric. And then we go in here to our dimension command. This arc is going to be the outer arc. The outer arc is going to have a radius of 33 millimeters. And then the distance from this point here down to the bottom of that straight section is going to be 25 millimeters. So there we go, a nice fully defined, fully constrained sketch there. One thing that I did there, I did it kind of quickly. Let me just show you this again real quick here. When I was creating that line arc line, I did the single click to begin the line, single click, move back, touch the end point, come up and over with the arc. And then I came down here, and then you'll notice that I'm not picking up on horizontal. This is a really good time-saving shortcut in Onshape. If you just take your mouse over this point, then that lets you wake up that horizontal relationship. So that way we can get over there and we can wake up that horizontal relationship. And it actually does apply the horizontal relationship. So you'll see here, I take this point and this here, Shift O, that's your concentric. Add in my dimension here for this radius, 33, and then add in my distance here from this point down to the bottom of that straight section, 25. And look at that, the whole sketch is fully constrained. These 2 points are moving together. So it's not just a reference, it's actually adding the relationship. So now we exit that sketch, and you can see here what that sketch looks like, line, arc, line. So we go here to extrude, and this is going to be a thin feature extrude, and then we can pick that line, arc, line, or we can just pick the sketch out of the tree. Either way, you get the geometry there. I'll pick the sketch out of the tree. It's a little bit quicker. And then here you can input what the thickness is and which direction it's going. So this should be going to the inside because that 33 was that outer diameter. And then the depth of this is 20 millimeters off of that face. 20 millimeters off of that face, and there we go. That should pretty much do it for that model. You can kind of do the final spin, look this thing over. You can press P to hide your planes. You can press Shift P to hide all of your reference geometry, like your sketches. You could come over here to the name of the part in the parts list, and you can say edit material. Edit appearance. And then you could change this to kind of match up with what the customer gave you, kind of match up with that yellow color. Make that a nice bright yellow there. There we go. Customers always like it when you match their physical parts with your 3D models. And then we can go over there to that parts list again, right click, and we can say assign material. And this material is going to be from the TooTallToby custom materials library, and it's going to be ABS. So we hit the green check mark, and now down here in the corner, we've got this option for mass properties, kind of down here. So you click on that option for mass properties, click on the part, and we're coming up with an answer here, 50.9, but we're looking for this in XX.XX grams, and it's plus or minus 0.03. So let's make sure we go to the correct precision. So if you hold your mouse over that, it's 50.859. So we could be more precise. Being more precise should be fine. So let's go back here to the app, and we'll do 50.859 and enter. And oh yeah, congratulations, this answer is correct. We did it. Good job, us. So 50.859 or 50.86 is correct. And you can see here that if we, upon submission, we're going to get 1 point on the community leaderboard. It took us 23 minutes. Wow. Tier 5 models are no joke. And so now we can see here that 10 people have completed this model. And if we go to the top 42, the first 42, we can see that it was none other than Rambro's Workshop who completed it 4 minutes and 25 seconds after it was released. So congratulations to Rambro's Workshop. This model was posted at 1:31 p.m. Rambro's Workshop did it in 4 minutes and 25 seconds from the time it was released. We see here that Atse did it in 5 minutes and 14 seconds from the time it was released. CSWE Victor using Onshape did it in 5 minutes and 31 seconds from the time it was released. 5 minutes and 42 seconds here from Aaron C. Well done, my friend. I know he had to cut out a little early here. We see that Jordy, what's up, Jordy? Jordy did it here in 11 minutes, 47 seconds. And AEUGHH, Agu, did it in 16 minutes and 15 seconds. Very nicely done. Looks like we got From Lafia, I thought maybe that was going to be Mr. Alex, but from Lafia, 18 minutes and 12 seconds. MCGA did it in 19 minutes and 47 seconds. 19 minutes and 47 seconds from the time it was released. That's not how fast they did it. If we look here at the top 100, we can see that he did it in 10 minutes and 6 seconds. But if we look here at the first 42, that was from the time it was released. So GG to Rambros Workshop, earning that second point of the day here in our episode of Model Monday Live. And that does just about bring us up to the top of the hour. I did want to say that as far as what I would change on this thing, probably the biggest thing that I would change on this thing is here in the in this hole. So there's a couple of things that I would change. First of all, I think it's too thick. I think 3 millimeters is too much. Maybe bring that down to 2 millimeters for the wall thickness. I don't think it needed to be 3 millimeters. It just feels like it's too thick. And the reason that's important is because I think that you run into a potential risk here of having your sawdust, I'm saying sawdust, but really it's usually like drywall dust land on this ledge here. So it's too thick, but also what you could do here is just add in a chamfer. This would still be 3D printable from that lower side. So if you just added in a chamfer here of close to the same wall thickness as the actual wall there, that's going to give you something where that dust is going to roll off that chamfer and then down into the bucket. And it's not just going to like land on that ledge. So that's the two things that come to mind right away. It's too thick. And also add a chamfer there. So if you make your own remix, post it in the Discord. We would love to see it. But the other thing that I noticed just as far as like a usability thing is that it's really slippery. It's really, not just because of the material, but because of the geometry. The geometry makes it hard to get a good grip on this thing. So it might be nice if there was like a little indent here. Like you imagine you're holding this up against a wall. It might be nice if there was just something that your thumb could like if there was a little indent here. I know Aaron C loves the indent command in 3D CAD, but it'd be nice if there was maybe just a little something there that you could just kind of, just give yourself a little bit more of a grip on. I think this is okay up here being an arc, but I think it'd be nice if there was maybe a little something here or maybe a little tab that was sticking down underneath just to give you that little bit more grip. I mean, I'm sure it'll work okay, but it might be nice if there was just something else. Maybe a little ledge here on this side, depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed, might be nice. Rambros Workshop says you could add fuzzy skin to the slicer. Yeah, that's a good point too. We could just texture this thing a little bit in the slicer as well, and that might take care of it. But just kind of thinking geometrically, that might be something I consider. The chamfer and the wall thickness are the big two, though. That thumb thing, I have to actually use it myself to really decide if that's actually that important. So there you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Model Monday Live. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you. It's always fun using the new functionality at TooTallToby.com. So make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that you sign up for an account. Sign up for Practice Models Premium if you want to do more of these challenges over at TooTallToby.com. The correct answer to that second challenge was 50.86 grams. So I appreciate everybody answering in the chat. And of course, it's a lot of fun to see the top 42. Congratulations to Aaron C. Congratulations to Rambros Workshop. Undefined Explode says, fun time. See you guys Friday. See you, my friend. Thank you all to the most amazing chat ever. Don't forget to tell a coworker about the channel. And this Friday, we've got the tournament semifinals, and we've got Model Monday Live next Monday. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. I definitely enjoyed that one. Remember, you can print this thing without support. If you print it flat like this, it will print without support. And guys, such a fun way to start the week. I hope you have a great rest of your Monday. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of Model Monday Live. We'll see you this Friday in the tournament. Otherwise, we will see everybody next week. See you, everybody. Have a great week.